Let's get back into the NBA playoffs with a fellow member of the Bald Brotherhood, our friend TNT analyst Charles Barkley. Chuck, let me start with this. The Rockets were 0 for 14 from 3 in the fourth quarter, and they obviously lost that game last night. Do you think that the Rockets are as good as they think they are?
I think they got a really a good team. They got a great coach. But I think last night was a perfect example. I think they go through those spells. Like, remember last year they missed 29 in a row. They were 0 for 13 in the fourth quarter last night, and they don't have a plan B. And I don't think you get deep in the playoffs and can do it for every series. That's why I still think they're not going to beat the Warriors.
You can't wait for that.
Well, you know where I am on that
Houston
issue.
and the Warriors, I know.
Yeah.
Chuck, the Sixers can eliminate the Nets tonight. Joel Embiid is probable, but the Nets are mad about those recent flagrant fouls. How do you see that in the context of this series, those two fouls he's had?
Well, I was very disappointed in referees in the first game because that was a flagrant 2. You can't go around punching people in the face, and then you threw gasoline on the fire and you're laughing at the press conference. That made me mad as an ex-player. And I thought the foul in the last game was a little heavy-handed, but I root for the 76ers, and they're going to win this series. But they're going to have their hands full with Kawhi Leonard because let me tell you something. He is, we forget, 2 years ago, it was LeBron, KD, and Kawhi who's the best right there. Kawhi has reasserted himself. He's one of the 5 best players in the world. He's been amazing all year.
So, Chuck, you and I agree on everything. Wilbon disagrees with us on everything.
No, I don't.
And you and I agree completely on Embiid. So I want to ask you about this. You recently said Embiid should swim to get in better shape, but he says he is scared of swimming. What do you think of that?
Well, there's not going to be a body of water in Philadelphia that he can drown in. I mean, the guy's 7'2". The water's only going to come up to his waist, no matter how deep the pool is.
Right.
Mike and Tony, he's going to have to do something about his condition because the Sixers are not going to beat Toronto or Milwaukee or Boston unless he's healthy. And listen, he's going to have to get in the swimming pool, do a lot of swimming, do some laps if he's not going to practice because he got to get in better shape. I mean, we still got another month to 6 weeks to go, and he needs to be in better shape the deeper we go in the playoffs.
Let's move to the Thunder for a second with their game in Portland tonight. By the way, Charles has picked Portland from the very beginning.
To win.
So he gets credit for this as long as they go. What would your advice, Charles, be to Russell Westbrook? Because, I mean, if he goes out again, you start looking at 30, 31 years old as the window closing just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think Russ is going to have to sit down after the season. He's a terrific player. But, Mike, he goes 100 miles an hour all the time. He's going to have to learn to dial it back. And really, I use a golf analogy. I play golf with a lot of pros. And they always say we only go at it about 50, 60%. We very rarely seldom go at it 100%. Russell goes at it 100% every single night, day. That's not sustainable, and he got to calm down. Listen, he got to take credit. He's a great person and a great player, but he goes 100 miles an hour all the time. He's going to have to start driving 55 most days and crank it up to 75 sometimes. And then sometimes you have to go 100. But very seldom do you have to go 100. You got to go 55 to 75. I'm going to use that analogy.